And we're back.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Mila. Hey, Yanaa.
Hello. LaDonna
Hey.
said she can hop on later.
Who did what?
I said LaDonna said she can come on later and join us.
All right. So LaDonna will be joining later. So we are back for episode 7. Hey. Episode 7. We talking about some things today. How's everybody doing? What's going on with y'all?
Good. How about you? What's the issue today, sis?
What's the issue?
I am so glad you asked that, Mila. Today's issue is about submission. So this issue came from our brother to the show, Brother Ryan. Mm-hmm. He wanted to know if what we thought or what women thought about submission.
Yeah.
And I know we had a conversation before, and y'all were kind of like, what are you talking about? What does that mean? So, what does it mean about submission? And it's funny because I was just telling Yanaa, I had a conversation with an ex a couple of weeks ago about this similar issue because he was saying how I was not one of those people who was able to be submissive. So let's get into the conversation. So I got my stuff, right? Got all my stuff. Hold on. So what do you think submission means before I read these definitions?
Submit. What? What does that feel like? To be submissive means to let go of the lead and to let someone else take the lead for a little bit.
Let go of the lead.
Yeah, let go of control. There's a better word. Let go of some of the control and let somebody else be in control, even though, well, let me not say even though you might feel like you know what you're doing, but just letting somebody else have the control.
Okay. What do you think that means, Mila?
Well, you know what's funny? A lot of people think different things about being submissive. A lot of people have different definitions, but my definition is pretty much kind of like what Yanaa said, kind of not letting go of the lead, but kind of letting somebody guide you a little bit.
Yeah.
Like following behind a little bit, but not being a follower, but just kind of like, I'm gonna let you do you, and then if I agree, and we move on, type of thing.
Okay. Is she frozen?
I think so.
What is happening? All right. So, are we having technical difficulties today? What's going on? One of y'all's frozen? Okay. So, submission to me means being able to, and now she's gone. Okay. So we having technical difficulties today, it seems. Stuff is going on. The conversation that I had about being submissive, when I was talking to this person, my first ex-husband, and I was talking to him about what, our marriage and why it didn't work, whatever. He told me because I was unable to be submissive. And what I got from that was that, because a lot of men say, well, you need to be submissive. You need to let the man lead, right? You need to be the one to be, play the background, whatever. What I got from him was he wanted me to listen to what he had to say and not have anything to say back, not have any opinion, not be able to express how I felt, but to just go blindly following his lead.
That's not being submissive. That's being controlled.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said. So I wanted to know what it meant, what the word meant. So of course I looked up, because I'm a scholar, and I looked up all of the, the word roots and the etymology of this word. So submissive, root word sub, right? And the ones that stuck out to me was meaning at the feet of, behind, under, beneath, within.
Not beneath. Dang.
Beneath. So then there was another word, submitto, which is Latin. Submitto probably is how it goes. Moderate or restrain, place underneath, put forth, rear or raise. That sounds like children.
Yeah,
to me,
it does.
Right? So submit, the root word, to enter or put forth for approval, consideration, marking, to yield or give to another, to win a fight against, to let down, to lower, or to put or place under. Underneath.
And where'd you got this from? What, Webster?
This is Etymology Online that I
Okay.
got this from. Etymology.com online. So another definition: active submitting or yielding, acknowledgement of inferiority or of a fault, humble behavior, resignation. Then the other one is a part of speech, the act of yielding to power or authority, acknowledgement of inferiority or dependence, humble or suppliant behavior, resignation.
Resignation.
So one of the examples that was on one of these websites that I was looking on said to submit to the will of God, right? When you are praying to God, you are submissive to God. So relationships are not God. I mean, men are not God.
Men are not God.
So this conversation came up because of all the stuff that's happening about Derek Jackson and all these other people who are doing all these horrible things to their wives, and wives should be a certain way. But it's funny because everybody was talking about Derek Jackson's wife and how crazy she seemed, even though she was like taking up for her husband or whatever it was that she was doing. I don't know. But they made it seem like something was wrong with her.
Right.
Sorry. We having issues today. We got issues with what's the issue, sis? We got issues. we issues today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going.
So did you hear any of the definition?
No.
So basically the definition means up underneath or inferior to someone else. And I was telling Mila, the example that was used the most was to submit to the will of God. So that led me to believe that maybe this is one of those Christian ideologies, wife, husband, wife has to be submissive because the man is the man of the house, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? You think that's where it came from?
Of course. Christian. It sounds like
a lot of the teachings about marriage came from Christianity.
Marriage came from Christianity.
Yeah. I'm going to say just from the definition, it sounds like it did come from Christianity.
So if it does, if that's what that means, why do you think that the most Black men that I know hold on to that value?
Because it puts them on a higher pedestal. It's like, okay, the women has to submit to me. So that means I'm the king.
Facts.
Type of thing.
Facts.
But what are you the king of? Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
See, that's the thing though, because I feel like with the times, I feel like that's a word that should probably, let me not say not be used anymore, but I mean like that was a word that like with different times things were different. Because like I feel like when maybe back, I don't know what year I can think of, but when like people were in relationships and when men were the primary breadwinners and that's what they did, and then the women took care of the house. And I know that men, not all men, but some men expect women to submit when they're the ones that are financially providing. But I feel like now times have kind of changed. So it's like,
yeah, definitely.
It's a completely different thing now.
So the word itself means inferior, means beneath. Right? So why would we put ourselves in that position? Even if it was a situation about, independent woman, I'm an independent woman. Why would I want to be inferior to my partner and then still call that a healthy relationship?
Yeah.
You wouldn't, but people don't know. I never even knew what the actual definition of it was until you just said it. So,
well, I mean, most of the time when you submit something, right, you submit it, you give to someone else. Mm-hmm. You're giving something to someone else. So would that in turn mean you're giving up your identity, you're giving up your independence, you're giving up your power to someone else?
Mm-hmm.
Why
That's
is that
pretty
necessary?
Much what it is.
Why is it necessary?
Why is it necessary for some people to have to do?
Do you think it's necessary?
I don't. But a lot of people believe in submission. A lot of penis people believe in submission because they feel like that is what they need in order to be, like Mila said, the king of the castle, the head honcho, the man. That's what in order for me to feel like a man, you need to submit to me.
I believe it's egotistical. I think it's the ego. Because without that in the way, none of that would really matter.
Facts.
If men didn't grow up feeling like, oh, I have a certain ego to portray, none of that would even matter.
So grow up.
Grow up. But, okay.
As they become adults, because...
I feel a little funny about that definition just because of the word inferior. Because I have always said that if I meet the right man, I will submit to him. Because I feel like if you meet the right, that's what I've always said. But now I'm not hearing the definition. I don't really like the way it is. But and the only reason why I said that was because for the way that I feel like my family unit is gonna go, if I have a man that's a good leader, you know what I mean? I don't mind being behind the scenes. So I feel like the way that submission would look to me would be like, and we talked about this, Mom, Rabia, us having conversations behind the scenes and him just being the leader. That's just what I feel like. Like I wouldn't have to control everything in every aspect. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like if we had like a joint bank account, like he would pay all the bills and I would trust him to do that. You know what I mean? Give him if that's his job. That's just for me. I'm just saying for my thing, if I find the right man, not for everybody, but I'm just saying if you find the right person, you'll give up control in some areas. You know what I mean? Because it's a balance. That's how I feel like you should go. You give up control in some areas, but not completely.
Give up control. Go ahead, Mila.
I see what you're saying, because just like how you said that you would let him, pay the bills, that's kind of like letting the men, the men would let the women take care of the household. You deal with all the decorating and all the planning and everything like that, and the kids. It's like a balance, but that's only in certain households. But I get what you're saying.
You said let.
But you don't look like you agree. You disagree.
Because we said control, and now you're saying let. So that's why she's
okay.
So what do you think is a better word for it than control?
Yeah.
Well, just based off, like I was saying about the conversation that I had with Dude, right? So, like I said, like Mila was saying, it was about ego. It was about the fact that he felt like he needed to be able to feel like the man, because when we were together, he wasn't able to do that because he wasn't able to provide. He wasn't able to be a good father. He wasn't able to do any of those things. So in order for him to feel like he could be the man, he needed me to not be as controlling as I was, right? I needed to submit to him. But like I said, in the midst of that conversation, what I got from him was, I wanted you to listen to me and shut up and not say anything, not have anything to say, not have any opinion about what it is that I'm saying, not have any say about what it is that we're getting ready to do. I'm going to be the one to make all the decisions and you don't have anything to say about it.
That's
because
exactly
I
what
need,
he was saying.
That's what he told me, like out of his mouth, because I need to feel like the man, because at the time I was the one making the money. I was the one that had the house. It was my car that we were driving, right? So I had control because it was my shit. So you can't control my stuff. You can't come in here and be like, now I'm finna tell you what to do with your car. No, you can't do that. So if it had been like a situation where we were together, we brought our stuff together and we all had stuff together, then yeah, I'll be like, okay, you can make most of the decisions. But decision making does not necessarily mean you're going to make the decision and I'm just going to be here and be quiet and shut up and not say anything. Decision making to me means we make the decisions together. You might be the final person to say, you know what, this is the direction we're going to go in. Or you might decide today and then I'm going to decide tomorrow. But you ain't going to let me. You're not going to let me do nothing.
My thing is, I feel like men in those type of positions should give them the boost to be like, you know, let me step my game up. Let me try to match her on this level. Not let me forget her because then she has all the power and I feel like a little man. No,
Facts.
Now I'm gonna go find somebody else to give me that power again. And so I'm gonna leave my family because I'm stupid. Anyway. Yeah.
Stop being a little boy and be the man that you portray.
That's what I said. Grow up or become big boys.
Submission is about power. And why do y'all think that is a thing that people focus on in a relationship? Because if, in my opinion, this is how I feel like now from like what I want out of a healthy relationship. Like I want my person to be their own person and we come together and we do things together. But do y'all feel like, why do y'all feel like power is such a big thing in relationships?
I feel like this. When you're talking about power or control or that type of thing, and I've said this before, it's always because people in whatever environment you're in outside of your relationship, whatever environment you're in outside of your house, whatever environment you're in outside of the people that you are close to, there are times when you feel powerless, like with your boss at work, like with, dude down the street, like with, whatever. And a lot of times men specifically feel powerless in their lives, right? They don't have any control over what it is that they do every day, especially if they got a record, they don't have control at all over what happens in their life. If they have children, they don't have control over what it is that they do and where they go, right? So there has to be some areas where they feel like they can gain that control back. And that's usually with the person that they're closest to, which most of the time ends up being the person that they're in a relationship with. So now I have to give up my power while I'm at work. I got to give up my power while I'm at school. I got to give up my power while I'm with the homies. And now I got to come home and do the same thing.
But isn't that that's a deeper problem?
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's what happens. So I'm saying that is probably, for me, from what I've seen, that's where the power grab comes from, right? I'm giving up all my power everywhere else that I'm at. So now this is my house. This is my house. It's me, my house. I'm not going to come in my house and give up my power here too. Power to me means I'm going to scare you into being afraid of me. Whether it's your woman and your or the children, I'm going to make you afraid because I don't want you to do anything outside of my control. I don't want you to do anything outside of my power. I don't want you talking to nobody else. So I'm going to make you feel like I'm jealous all the time. And every single time you pick up the phone, I'm going to ask you what you're doing.
But really, they're projecting.
All the time. All the time. Or with children. And I was just talking about this with somebody the other day, where a lot of times we want to control our children because they're ours. They're our possession, right? They look like us. These are our creations, right? Who else can we control? But you can't control people at all, even if they're little people.
And that's the problem. Don't nobody needs to control nobody except yourself.
Right. And that's a lot of times where parents get pissed off and get mad and start being abusive because you can't control another person. You can't make sure they do whatever it is that they do, even though you try, right? You try to guide them, try to push them in certain directions or whatever, but you can't make them do anything. And that makes people angry. right? So if you're in your household and you have no control over what's going on, because like sometimes I used to say it feel like I only pay rent here. Right? Everybody is doing whatever the hell they want to do, and I'm just coming to pay the rent. Right? And I think that's where the submission thing comes from. You have to be a part of my control. And the only way to do that is for you to give it up. I can't, if I try to take it from you, that's abuse. But if you give it up and you say, I'm going to submit to you and I'm going to let you make the decisions, then that's easy for me to do.
Right. But they don't understand that that's still a certain type of abuse. That's manipulation.
Yeah, of course it is.
But
of course it is.
Circling it back around to the Christianity thing, right? How man was made in God's image and woman was taken from
the
man's rib to create a partner for man. So again, it's that self-importance of I'm a man. I was made in the image of God. You know what I mean? So I'm important. I'm powerful. I'm this and I'm that. And a lot of times I've read the Bible. So a lot of times in the Bible too, and I don't want to say this because I feel like I don't want to say that the Bible hates women because I don't think that, but there's a lot of women shaming in the Bible. And there's a lot of situations where women are getting punished for certain things, and they believe that women have punishments and they've gotten punishments for being a certain way. So I could definitely see the aspect of that's why men believe women need to submit to them, because they believe that they are the better of the sexes. You know what I mean? They believe that they're the best. They believe that they are closest to God's image. Not all of them, but I think that's where it originally stemmed from. But then it came, into popular culture and became a thing where even if you don't have religion, it's like man is important. And we're woman because we came from the man, quote unquote. But I feel like it's the other way around. But
yeah. Well, actually, it is biologically.
Factually, it's the other way around.
It is. Man came from woman.
We have proof that men have been birthed by women, which is weird.
Whatever. But not just that, but the whole chromosome thing. You start out as X, and then the Y comes later. So men come from women to begin with when they are conceived. But whatever. We'll just let y'all have it. But okay, if you're talking about the whole Christian, and it's funny because that kind of sparked a thought about this whole female versus woman thing, but we'll table that for until the end. But talking about Christianity, if we believe that the Christian idea of marriage, woman, man is true, right? This submission will be valid. But 95% of the population doesn't believe that.
But why would it be valid if we believe that? Because we're following Christian rules? Or
I mean, that's what this country is ran on, Christianity. Even though there are other religions everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And like I said, 95% of the world is not Christian. But yet all these ideas are so big and so vast because the United States believes that's what we're supposed to be doing.
But I feel like it's definitely not just in Christianity that women are supposed to submit.
It's not. You are right. I was just going to say that.
Christian thing.
It's Islamic too.
I was saying, in Islam, and I'm saying I've never read the Quran, but
But here's the thing, and I don't know if this is necessarily something that I just heard or whatever, but I think it's because I've been talking to a lot of Muslim women, but that idea of submission that comes from the culture, it's cultural. It's not religious, right? Because in the Quran, the woman is higher in the hierarchy. She's supposed to be put up on the pedestal. She's supposed to be protected and supported in her hierarchy. She's supposed to be the head of the family. Right? And the man is supposed to provide for her, but it's not supposed to be a thing of where she's supposed to be submissive to him and he has to have all of the control. So that's a cultural thing.
So it is a cultural thing.
Absolutely. It's not religious. because it's not necessarily saying that idea didn't come from that, but that's not what the religion speaks to. That's what humans have decided that was the interpretation of it.
But like you said, it's a cultural thing. So maybe it's not necessarily, it stems from biblical, but people have used that to turn it into their own way. Like people use everything to be selfish. And eventually it came down to that. I mean, look at how they treated women over the years. It's definitely not hard to believe that that's also a tool that was used in order to control women and to make them stay where they are and to make them listen to their husband or whatever. So I think it's all a popular culture thing. My bad. Sorry. But yeah.
We're going through it today. Welcome back.
But I'm still here. We still here. We still
okay.
getting there. We still talking.
All right. Anyway. Okay, so pinging off of that, since we were talking about that, what do y'all think about the whole woman-female controversy? Do you know what I'm talking about, Mila? Because me and Yanaa talk about this all the time. But what do you know what I'm talking about?
When was this?
It's been for months. When people get upset because men call women female as opposed to woman.
How do you feel about that?
Okay. To me personally, I refer to women as females. So
facts. It doesn't matter. We are females.
But I did hear. I don't know if I was talking to you, Yanaa, or somebody else, but they said the reason why that they don't like that is because saying female is pretty much, how should I put this? Pretty much talking about the body parts, not the actual woman itself. But I never really
wait.
Yeah, that's what somebody that's what somebody said. The reason why they don't like being called a female is because that's kind of like directed towards their body, their body part.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
But check this, womb man. Is that not a body part?
I mean, but since it's not spelled the same.
But still, that's what it means. Is that not what it means? A man with a womb. Womb man. Woman is a terminology, is a name that was made up. Woman is not the actual term, the actual genetic or biological term for the female species. Female is the actual term for it, not woman.
Right.
What is it? How is that? I don't get it.
It's because culturally now it has a negative connotation. Because
like
dudes will be like
so sensitive.
Yep, dudes will be like this female, and that's like the way that they use, like you're not a woman, you're a female. You know what I mean?
So if you said woman, that would be different. I don't understand. I don't.
But the fact that women are taking it offensive is the problem. Because why?
Yeah, why are you offended by that?
But you let your friend call you bitch.
But I don't know if y'all remember, but even like maybe like some years ago, women didn't like being called woman. That was offensive.
Yes.
Men were saying, "Look here, woman, don't call me no woman. What do you want to be called? What
am I supposed to call you?
What is it?" But then you say, "Well, call me by my name." Well, not everybody knows your name. So people that don't know your name is just gonna not call you at all. And then, like I'll be talking about, I don't like people calling me she and her. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's a parent thing.
How are we supposed to describe you?
Mama. Mother.
Be like, my mama did
ma'am.
This, my mama did that.
Right, saying like, mama every word. No.
Mother, mom, mommy.
But you can't ask that. You call us.
You've never referred to your mother as she or her.
No.
I feel like the only way that you can have that argument is if you don't call nobody else she.
Huh? What?
Only way that you could have that standard is if you didn't call nobody else she. If you called everybody by their name and called everybody by whatever, then I'll be like, okay, I'm not gonna call you she because you don't call nobody else she.
But that's the thing. It's just my preference. I don't like to be called that by my children.
But then you shouldn't call us that either. Different conversation. But I'm saying but since we're talking about this, like I said, let's talk about the women that don't like to be called female, but they let their friends call them the B word. You know what I mean? It's like a standard. Or you'll let your friends call you the B word, and then if a dude calls you the B word, it's not cool. Or stuff like that. So it's like, and I know it's a completely different conversation, but since we're talking about this, ain't that confusing?
All of it. All of it. All of it.
To have such double standards for things, you know what I mean? Like, I think people need to, I don't know, but I guess I can't say choose a side, because I guess it's different in different situations.
I say that all the time. Can we pick a side? Can we just pick what side we're going to be on? Are we going to be here this week? Are we going to be here next week? Can we just pick just decide where you want to be?
But people change, so I get it.
So do you think that has a lot to do with this whole submission thing? Because, there's also with the whole, female and calling us woman, and we have to be independent, and we need to be, it's funny because I was watching this other web show podcast. I don't know what to call it. I don't even know what did we call this? Anyway, this other web show where the men were talking about how do we protect the Black woman? And one dude said, Black women don't need to be protected or provided for anymore. They need to be supported. Facts, right?
But that's the problem.
What?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. But what you just said, I feel like that has a lot to do with submission. Because you hear what you just said? We always needed to be supported.
Always.
I get it. Like back in the times, like when it was medieval ages, and we were just living outside. Okay, you're the stronger of the species. Protect us. But once we have integrated into this, where people are capable of doing, different things, and it's not really that gender line anymore of like the dude is the protector and the woman is, the caretaker. It's like we've been needed to be supported for about 30, 40, 50 years. You know what I mean? So it's like, is that also where it comes from? Because men feel like they have to be protectors, and when they feel like they're not, that's the issue. And that's why they feel like women have to submit, because they have I feel like for me personally, like the relationships that I'm in, and sometimes they don't like how strong I seem, or how, you know what I mean? So they feel like they can't protect me. So they feel like they don't do stuff for me. So they want me to tone it down.
Lower your standards.
Bow down.
But going off of what you had just said, about how they want Black women to be independent, but it's crazy how you want us to be independent but also submissive at the same time.
Facts. How do you do that?
Facts.
How do you do that?
How are you gonna want me to get it on my own, but then but also submit to your husband?
Right?
I think that's part of the problem why it's such a difficult situation, or it's a difficult thing for women to do, because back in biblical days, or even back in the 50s, men were going out and working, and women didn't have to work. They didn't have to worry about where the money was coming from. Even if daddy had 5 other children on the outside, he still took care of the household. He still paid the bills. He still made sure we had a car. He still made sure that the kids was taken care of, and they had clothes and food. Then the woman didn't have to worry about anything but taking care of the house. But now I'm working 80 hours a week. I'm not going to come home and take care of you.
Thanks.
Because I'm tired. Okay? I'm tired. I'm working 80 hours a week. I'm dealing with all these different microaggressions and all this racism at work. And now and that's the thing. We always have consideration for men and the way that they have to deal with the environment, but it's very, I'm not going to say it's rare, but most of the time, there's no consideration for us. We have to be strong when we're out there, but we can't be strong when we're in the house.
Right.
But it's kind of always flipped. It's like, well, men have to deal with this when they come home. But what about what we got to deal with?
Or
we have to deal with the same type of stuff. And now we got to deal with somebody. What?
Oh, no, go ahead.
And I'm saying now we got to deal with somebody trying to control us when we get home. Come on, man.
When it was nice to everybody else all day.
Tired.
All day. All day. Have y'all
seen all day? then you want to come home and take it out on me.
Have y'all seen that video? That video with Nikki Giovanni and what's his name? James Baldwin.
Mm-mm.
Have you ever seen that video? It's on Facebook. But so basically, it was talking about this same situation, right? Where she was saying to him, "You lie to everybody all day long. Lie to me too."
Oh, I
right?
seen
Come
that.
on.
I saw that.
You saw that?
I want you to lie to me. Don't tell me this.
Because they lie, they smile in Master's face all day, right? And they do all these different things with everybody. They nice to everybody. They the life of the party. They the dude that everybody wants and loves and cares for and blah, blah, blah. And then they come home and be like this. I don't know. I don't want nothing. I don't want to go nowhere. I don't want to do anything.
Here's the thing, though. Like you just said.
Lie to me, too.
This is partially why men have to learn what emotional regulation and why they have to learn certain things. Because if you are dealing with that at work all day and you have to come home and be like that, it's because you burnt out, because people took your energy and they sucked it out of you. But if you know how to regulate that within yourself, you ain't gonna go home and take that out on your family. You gonna go home and be, I mean, you know what? I'm so glad to see y'all. Y'all love me, and you gonna be able to open up and really be yourself. So that's the thing too, of like you said, they expect women to take everything, because when they get home, it's like, you know what? I don't have to do nothing but be me, and you do everything else.
You do everything else.
Chill, because I have such a hard life outside of these walls, and you don't know how hard my life is, how hard I got to deal with it, because you're a woman. You know what I mean? And they assume that we have it easier, and that's not at all the case.
Never. It never
Even
is.
for people that are stay-at-home moms, I feel like I've seen a lot of people that talk mess about them too, of like, well, y'all don't do nothing. Y'all just stay at home and watch the kids. Do y'all not know what it's like to be at home with kids all day, all the time? Y'all don't get it. And then have to clean, and then have to cook, and your husband come home and he got an attitude. And you don't go to bed till like 12 o'clock because you was up making sure everybody was good for the next morning, making lunches and doing this and doing that. And you didn't get to take a bath until 10. You know what I mean? Like,
but not to mention the white lady at the park who thought you was the nanny. Not to mention the people at the grocery store who thought she was on welfare and had food stamps and wouldn't serve you. Not to mention the people that was, in the pet shop when you going to get something for your dog and thinking that you kidnapping kids. They don't even consider none of that stuff that goes on, right? Or not to mention the fact that you might be walking down the street and every 5 minutes, regardless of whether you got a stroller or not, because you in some yoga pants and some dude whistling at you.
Facts.
or trying to roll down his window while he's slow driving down the street.
And all you doing is trying to go home. Like, come on now.
And let's not even talk about the women who don't have vehicles and got to get on the bus with a stroller and a car seat and a diaper bag and a purse and 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? Like,
while their husband got the car at work.
Right.
Or somewhere else. While she's struggling, trying to get on the bus.
Oh, shit.
Most of the time, the car she paid for because it got that little diamond license plate holder.
And then they get upset when the woman starts entertaining another man because he's actually paying attention to her, actually giving her everything that she needs. Then it's like,
Facts.
Oh, you a hoe.
Facts, right? Facts. I did everything. I took care of you. I pay all these bills. I can't believe that you were going to do that.
I paid the bill. Who paid who? Okay. So getting back to submission, I have trouble with submitting to someone who's not taking care of me.
Definitely.
And I don't necessarily
like every woman should.
I don't necessarily mean even in financial ways, because I've had a lot of relationships that, I was the primary breadwinner. I was fine with that. As long as when I come home, this here is taken care of, right? Yeah. You clean up the house, you do whatever it is you need to do. If you get a little bit extra money, you can have your own little, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have a problem. I never had a problem with the house husband situation or idea, right? What I got an issue with is after now I done came home out of this environment and all I need is a hug. You telling me about what you did all day. How I took care of all of this and I did all this stuff. But I don't get the love and care and support and emotional support that you would expect from me if I was at home all day.
Right. And it's like, you've been home all day, but you can't show me love. What you been doing all day?
A little bit. So that's the problem with most relationships, is because when we have those gender role switches, right, where the man is the primary caretaker of the children and the woman is the primary breadwinner, there's ego involved. There's situations where, you know, he may feel emasculated, he may feel inferior. And another part of control. Now I feel inferior to you because I'm at home. I'm gonna say it, but I'm the bitch, right? I'm the woman in the relationship. Now I feel like a bitch. So now I got to pump my chest every time I see you, because now I got to make sure that I'm the one that's in control. I'm the man. So I have to make sure you know that. Even though you're the one out there doing the man things.
And you know what? That seems like a shit. But I definitely feel like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Dissolving gender roles and what it means to be a woman and what it means to be a man. You know what I mean? Once we get rid of all that, it'll go to normal, because I think that's the problem. It's such, society has created these roles for men and women, and it's like if they feel like they don't fit them, well, we don't have our relationship ain't right. Like, I need to fit this. But there's a bunch of people that don't have conventional relationships. There's men that are raising children by themselves now. You know what I mean? There's women that don't have children or don't want to have children, and there's women that are. So I feel like it'll come, you know what I mean? But I think the dissolving of the gender roles and just the emotional, having them have emotional stability and be able to regulate their emotions is what will help that. Because it all just sounds like people say ego, and it's societal roles that's put on them, and they feel like they gotta feel them, and if they don't, they get angry about it. So really, they mad at themselves, but they project it on to women because they don't know how to fix it within themselves, because nobody taught them, hey, this is what you do when you're feeling this way. Or people forced them to be masculine when they were younger, and they might not really have wanted to be. And now they believe I have to be masculine and I have to be this because this is how my dad was, or this is how my uncle was, or this is how my brother was, and this is how I learned how to be. And I admire them. So I'm gonna be exactly the way that they were. You know what I mean? And I just think that the gender period messes it up. I mean, like, I know we got different body parts and everything, but goddamn it, we all people and we all can do different things. So why don't y'all just make it work like that, you know?
Dissolving the gender roles starts with letting that boy play with that Barbie and letting that girl play with that truck. Simple as that.
Which people,
I mean, it's not that simple, but simple as that. You know, let the boy wear the tutu to school. You know what I'm saying? And for this, oh. Is that disagreement over there, Kahmeela?
I agree, but let me just say this. You know, if I had a child, I don't have no kids, but so I can't talk from a parent's perspective, but I can only talk about, from a child's perspective, because I've only been a child. But, if I saw my son playing with a Barbie, that would be a problem for me. Now,
why?
Because I hate to say it, but those are for girls.
But they're not. How do you expect a boy to know how to take care of
boy Barbies?
My son plays with Barbies. He watches Barbie.
I mean, well, that's fine, but that's just my opinion. I personally wouldn't, but as far as, getting him a kitchen set, letting him sweep and stuff like that would be fine. But me personally, I just wouldn't let my son play with dolls and wear a tutu. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay, so here's the opinion.
Boys don't know how to be parents because they don't play with dolls.
Boom. How do you expect a man to grow up and be able to take care of a child if he don't know how to do that? How do we know how to do it? Because we played with babies when we were babies.
But
Gender
also
roles are set
seeing
up from the
example
start.
from our parents as well.
But think
You know
about
what I
it.
mean?
And I'm not saying. Say that again, Mila.
Oh, I think I cut off. But also seeing, you know, the example, the example from our parents as well. You know, seeing our mother take care of the child. That doesn't necessarily mean that the nigga, I mean, the little kid.
Okay, well,
play with
let's
the
just
doll, but they could also see by the example that somebody else is setting. Or you could just simply tell them. I don't know. I just don't, when it comes to Barbie dolls, I don't feel like my son, me.
I feel you
my
on that.
child.
But
well, I
as a
have an
parent,
example.
it don't. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What?
Go ahead.
I have an example of somebody we know who played with dolls when he was little, right? And grew up to be an aggressive person.
Mhm.
Because I think and this is just because, you know, what I'm seeing from my observation. I think because when he was playing with dolls, he was teased by people. People didn't like that. He had to keep it secret, right? It was just me and him. We was the only ones that knew about his dolls. Like, he might tell his girlfriend, you know, every once in a while, but we was the only people that really knew about his dolls. If anybody found out that he was playing with a doll, he used to get teased about a lot of stuff. So he felt like if somebody knew that, of course they would think that he was gay. Right? So he never like really embraced it. He would always be like, he wasn't nurturing to the dolls. He was aggressive with the dolls. Right? He had a favorite one, and he used to fling her around everywhere, right? But at the same time, he loved doing that. Like, he had a really active imagination when we were little. But then as he grew up, it changed because people's ideas of what a man is supposed to be changed his idea and made him into an aggressive that he is today. Right?
I'm gonna say one thing.
To add on to that, although the person that you're speaking about is aggressive, he also does have a very loving side of him as well.
Well, yeah.
He does. It could be a manipulation type of thing, but he does know how to love. It's just I think love for him kind of freaks him out because it's like, okay, I'm getting too soft. Let me buff up real quick.
Because of the ideas. Because of the ideas. Because of what people have said he's supposed to be. Right?
Let me say
there's only what?
I was gonna say, I'll make another example of Elijah. Because he grew up around the girls all the time. He's watched Barbie, he's played with dolls, he watches the same stuff they watch. And I had that thing of like, you know what, why is he doing that? Especially when I first, you know, he was younger, because it was like I was so like he shouldn't be playing with Barbies. Like, I don't want people to make fun of him. I don't want him to be gay, but I don't really care. But you know what I mean? But I kind of had that outside perspective of thinking that that's how he was going to be. And he's 7 now, and he still is a boy. I mean, he does boy stuff. He likes boy stuff.
Real boy.
He plays games. He goes outside, but he also has that of, okay, I understand how to play with the girls, and I understand of what they do. And he can sit there with the girls and watch TV and not get all mad and say, oh, turn on some football or turn on some whatever. Like, I don't want to watch this shit. Because I'm not saying all men are like that, but a lot of men are. Like, I can turn on Barbie and Elijah will be just sitting there chilling. But he also learns different things from it. He also learns a little bit of sensitivity, I feel like, from that stuff too. It's not all about like fighting and stuff. And you know what I mean? But I feel like personally, from my own parental experience, I feel like that if I didn't open him up to that side, but he was always around women, I feel like he would have that like kind of aggression. Because we even I don't want to say his name, but
that dude.
No, I'm not talking about the same guy. I'm talking about
that other dude.
Okay. Yeah.
When we were growing up, and we kind of made fun of him for certain things that he would do, and I feel like that kind of had an impact on him of like why he doesn't do those certain things. But since we don't do that to Elijah, he's very like okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, he'll go to somebody else's house and be like, I want to watch Barbie. You know what I mean? Or I want to do this, or I want to do that. And I'm not saying that every kid is going to be like that, but I'm just saying from my personal experience, I definitely was like, oh no, I don't want him to play with Barbies. But then I kind of saw how him doing that made him like a different type of little boy. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and it might not work for everybody. So I understand, like, Mila, what you're feeling. I definitely do, because I definitely had that, especially from being like a societal aspect of like, he's a boy. Like, he needs to be doing other stuff. So I definitely felt the same way you was feeling. And I had to, like, for me personally, I was like, I don't want to be like that. And I had to like unlearn that and let him just do what he did. But I felt that exact same way you was feeling. Of like, no, I don't want him playing with Barbies. I don't want him doing this. I don't want him doing that. Like, there was a bunch of stuff that I was like, mm-mm. And then, and then when it happened, I was like,
you know, I'm not a parent, so I can't really say much. I've only been a child and I've never been a parent before. But just from my perspective now.
I was like that when I wasn't a parent. I was like that too. Of like, I don't want my son to play with Barbies and da da da. But I'm not saying you might not change, but I'm just saying I feel you, because I was there too.
Well, another example. Well, I don't know if he was using him as an example, but of my son.
Yeah,
I
was.
Like my son, but the way that he is, right? He's very. He's capable of understanding his emotions, and he's very aware of his emotions in a way that most men are not.
Yeah.
And he always says, because I grew up around y'all, that's how I know how to do these things. But at the same time, he struggles because outside says, this is how you need to be, right? But inside with these women, they're like, oh, talk to me. Be soft, be nice, be gentle, be sweet. But you got to be hard in these streets, right? So I think that's part of his struggle, is like, how am I supposed to be? I don't really know what a man looks like, because all the men around me are them, right? All the men that I've grown up with are like this. But my mama says, or my sister said, or my cousin said, be like this, right? And this is how I am naturally. But all my friends are like, nah, dude, you ain't supposed to cry. Like, who does that? But he's naturally that type of emotional guy. Like, he knows how to express himself, not verbally, but he knows how to express himself emotionally, right? And he struggles because he don't know what to do.
I want to add something. Children don't know gender until we tell them.
Yeah.
Children don't know that this is a girl thing until we tell them. Children don't know that this is a boy thing until we tell them. So that's kind of what broke me out of the thing with Elijah, because I had to start thinking about, this is me personally, I just want to share my opinion, but I started thinking about how society is, and you know, the roles that they automatically put on people. Like, we are automatically decided who we're supposed to be before we're born. Like, if you got this, you a girl. If you got this, you a boy. You know what I mean? Because they want to separate us into the groups. And so that's kind of one thing of like, I feel like that's why some men don't get to be sensitive, because they're automatically told, like, by society, you don't need to be. And then they grow up and they're not. And then we expect them, we're like, well, why are you not? Because you were never allowed to be. And then we try to change them, but they 25, 23 years old, and they done been like this all their life. And then we get mad at them because they don't know how to be sensitive, or they don't, and I'm not saying everybody, but they don't know how to be this, or they don't understand us in this way. It's because they weren't taught that, because the society believes, well, if you're a boy, you need to learn this. And if you're a girl, you need to learn this. If you're a girl, you don't need to be out here playing tackle football with these boys because you're too dainty and you're too whatever. And you know, me and you was rough back when we was younger. So we didn't give a fuck. We playing sports, we fighting, we play fighting, we all that. But if people had told us that we shouldn't have been doing that because we were girls, you know what I mean? It's like a thing. It's like well, that fucking sucks. I don't get to be rough and I don't get to let out my aggression because I'm a female, but I still have it in me. Because I know we both got aggression, like, and we let that out in our own ways. But I feel like if it was up to society, we wouldn't be able to do that, because that's a man thing. It's not a woman thing. Women are supposed to sit down and be pretty and be dainty. According to society, we're not supposed to crack jokes, and we ain't supposed to cuss, and we ain't supposed to sit with our legs open, and we ain't supposed to play fight and do all that, do whatever else.
Even when you are a female who's grown up around a lot of men, like myself,
from experience,
right? I don't know how to be female. I don't know how to be feminine. I don't know how to be soft. I don't know how to be affectionate. I don't know how to be, not that I can't be. It's just hard for me.
It's hard
because I didn't grow up around that. I grew up around men who did certain things and acted a certain way. And that was the only model that I had to be able to figure out what my personality was going to be. Because all these men, 5 brothers, who the hell else am I supposed to look to, right? What was I supposed to grow up being? And most people would tell me, like, you act like a nigga. Why? Because I am one, right? I am. That's what I grew up like as. Because they taught me all these rules, and they taught me how to be this person. They taught me how to be sneaky. They taught me how to be in, multiple relationships and not tell nobody, and everybody don't know what's going on. They taught me how to do all of that. They taught me how to be a man, but I'm not.
Right.
Or unpopular opinion.
I don't know.
Everybody has feminine and masculine energy.
Absolutely.
And whatever we are around is kind of how we end up being. So that's why I also feel like, unpopular opinion, but having 2 parents, a mother and a father, is important. Because when you grow up with your mother and your father, you can get that sensitive side from your mother, but still get that aggression and that, whatever from your father, because they cater to both. And I believe that that's why there's a male and a female as parents. In my opinion, I'm not saying that, same-sex couples are bad, but I definitely feel like kids need both energy.
Well, maybe not say male or female. Maybe say masculine, feminine energy.
Masculine. Yeah, let me say that better. You're right. Masculine and feminine energy is a better word to use. But I think they need both. I think you need parents that are different. You know what I mean? So that you can get that balance. So like Mila said, your son might not necessarily have to play with dolls, with you and your family. He might just get that feminine energy from you and learn that from you in other ways.
But some of the time, the masculine male energy is toxic. Some of the times, the female is too.
It's too. That's what I was saying. Sometimes if it's a good mother and father, or female male type of situation, then that's healthy. But if one is toxic and the other one's toxic, and it kind of messes up the child, low key.
Kind of.
Well,
you say kind of.
High key.
And then that goes back to that whole situation of control too, because most of the time children are traumatized because they're in emotionally abusive relationships with their parents. Most of the time. And that's just facts. It is. Because you can't. What?
Is this going to be the next topic? Because we have 57 minutes.
Mil said, hold on, we got to get something else. Hold on.
We're about to get to something totally different. Okay, maybe we can do that. Emotionally abusive relationships with your parents and how you grow up to be an adult. I mean, dead ass, we can. I'm up. I'm game.
Let's tap in.
We can do that.
Because I know, I got some issues my own self with that particular subject. Well, whatever. But okay, so then it goes back all the way to the control. Controlling your children, controlling people in your household. So is submission healthy? Hell no.
Well,
it's no.
If it's practiced in a healthy relationship, you don't feel like it would be?
No.
I don't like the word. I don't like the word.
No.
I don't like the definition of the word.
I think guiding in a certain way where one partner has more of the decision making than the other. That's fine. One person has more,
So maybe compromise is a better word. What do you think is a better word?
Decide on what your traditions and your culture in your household is going to be. If you two agree, yes, you are going to be the one who pays all the bills, then that's what we're going to do. If you two agree, you're going to pay the bills and I'm not going to know anything about it, but as long as the bills get paid, I don't have to question you and I don't have to ask what's going on. That's the part that I think that's missing sometimes is yes, you have control over this, but if you ain't taking care of it, I'm going to have something to say about it.
Facts.
I don't get to be in the dark because you didn't pay the light bill, but you're the one that got the control, right? If you taking care of the situation and you doing what you're supposed to do, I don't have no problem letting you do that. But what I'm not about to do is have my babies in the dark because you're not being responsible.
Yeah. Right. Just like you said, though, I do feel like that's the thing that comes from parents too. Because in a household, if your parent is that type of parent that doesn't really let you make any. You need to submit
Listen
to me
what
because
I
I'm the
said.
parent and I have the money and I have this and everything that I tell you to do, you need to do because it don't matter what you want. You know what I mean? Like I'm the parent and I'm the one in control. And so people learn to be like that, or they end up taking that into their relationships and being what their parent was. You know what I mean?
Or being the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Or the
Either or.
opposite. Or being controlling because you was controlled by that parent.
Right.
So it
Because it's
definitely
all
starts
about
at
power.
like,
Now I feel like I can control the situation because it's my situation. It's
It's
not
my
hers
house.
or his.
It's
This
me.
is my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
And
I feel like that's where it all stems from, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
From
That's
childhood.
that's where everything comes from.
Everything comes from childhood.
Because that's the longest
Everything
period of
starts
time where
when
you
you
don't
pop
have any
out.
control.
But the thing is, you should. So
Facts.
we'll talk about that on the
People
next
tell me I be acting
episode.
white when I let my kid have control, Not you, but other people.
That's ignorant.
Because white people let their kids scream at them and, whatever. Okay. Yeah, so on the next episode of What's the Issue, Sis, we're going to be talking about emotionally abusive parents. Yay. All right. Good show, everybody.
This was a good show.
Anybody got any last thoughts, Mila?
Be on the lookout for Yanaa's new project.
Combine.
And also be on the lookout for Khalil's new project too.
You
can follow him. What is it?
Bolo 4K.
Yeah.
Okay.
So be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout for Kahmeela, the real estate student who's going to be a realtor pretty soon in the next year or so. You're going to be on the lookout for that too.
Yep.
Yeah, my billboard.
Oh, hell yeah.
You need some lawn signs. Okay. All right. Okay, bye, y'all, people.
Bye.
See y'all later.